Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good in our community. And we're going to be talking about a health coverage plan for small businesses. We are honored to be joined by Rob Recker. He's the president of Chamber Benefits, Inc., which is a subsidiary of the Greater Memphis Chamber. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Absolutely. So we are going to talk about health coverage for sure, but give us a little background. When you talk about Chamber Benefits, Inc., tied to the Greater Memphis Chamber, your area of focus, give us a little bit of context.
Well, the board of directors at the Greater Memphis Chamber decided that it was important to have an arm of the organization that wakes up every day to provide benefits and value to that small business membership at the Chamber. So Chamber Benefits, Inc. was created in 2019 to provide solutions to those necessary business expenses that keep small business owners up at night. You know, those expenditures like health insurance, workers' compensation insurance, discounted savings on office products, where they can take those savings and reinvest those dollars back into their businesses.
Talk about why that's so important. I think it's one of those, we've had Beverly come on in the past talking about how large of a percentage small businesses are in terms of the chamber membership, but also how important small businesses are to the growth and the economic development for our community. So talk about why that focus is so important on your end.
You know, you think about every business, Jeremy, they started out as an idea from an entrepreneur that grew into a small business, that grew into a middle market company, and then a large company. You know, you think about icons like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates on the technology side of things, and then bringing that down to Memphis. You know, you think about Pitt Hyde opening his first auto parts store and Fred Smith with starting up FedEx. So all of these were entrepreneurs with ideas that grew their businesses. And this is very important to our local economy. You know, small business owners are the #1 job creators in this country. So they're providing opportunities for people to be in the workforce, to provide their businesses to grow and expand by adding employees, you know, and that really drives the local economy. And then that trickles down into these people being able to buy homes and send their kids off to college. And it just has a great ripple effect throughout the Greater Memphis region.
We'll start diving deeper into this, but from a basic overview, talk about the power of the large businesses when it comes to employee benefits and being able to offer very competitive and robust healthcare plans and dental, vision, and all those different things that kind of go into employee benefits packages. Talk about kind of the power of being able to provide that to the small businesses for talent attraction, retention. So kind of paint the picture of what the larger companies have access to that you're able to then help the small businesses achieve as well.
Well, for a long time, small businesses always struggled with health insurance. And, you know, where chambers became involved within the health insurance or health coverage value proposition for small business members of chambers happened way back in the early 70s at one of my former employees, the Greater Cleveland Partnership. It took a truckers' strike in 1973 to bring together small businesses in Cleveland to put an end to that truckers' strike. And they realized they had some clout in being able to end the strike. So they figured, hey, if we can band together for some other critical items that are important to small businesses, we can really support the small business community. So they started the first ever chamber health insurance program in 1973. And that kind of trickled out throughout chambers around the country. And it really became very big up until 2010. And with the introduction of the Affordable Care Act, that really changed the landscape for chambers to be able to offer those association or affinity health insurance programs. With the recent changes in 2018 by the Department of Labor, it has allowed associations and chambers to put together those affinity plans or association plans again. And what that means for the small business owner is that there's greater purchasing power, greater support, and more members coming together to be able to have access to those large corporate health insurance coverage plans that, you know, the multinational companies have for their employees. So they're getting all those great benefits that those large employers offer for small businesses.
So in a kind of layman's terms, you're taking the small businesses, pulling them together, and then allowing them the larger access because of the purchasing power and the ability to kind of share across the board. So bringing many small together to create the big opportunities.
Right.
So let's go ahead and dive into this. And so this health coverage plan is done through United Healthcare. Talk about how this works.
United Healthcare has been offering chamber and association plans for many years. I worked with them at the Orlando Chamber in the early 90s and mid 90s. I worked with them recently at the Milwaukee Chamber. And then they have a long track record. And they have a unique value proposition with their level funded plan. And it provides three great benefits to that small business owner. First of all, it's premium certainty. So every month, that small business owner is going to pay that same premium month after month. Secondly, at the end of the year, if those claims are lower than expected, they're going to get money back on those premiums that they've been paying throughout the year. And third, if their claims are a little bit higher than expected, there's stopgap coverage in place, so that's not going to change their premiums.
When you look at the access in terms of employee headcount and size, talk about some of those details in terms of eligibility.
Well, most small businesses have between 5 to 99 employees, and that's where this product is targeted to that audience. So for small business owners with 5 to 99 employees, it's a perfect fit for them. You think about the coverage for those companies on the lower end, that really drives their talent acquisition and retention for them to be able to be more productive and to grow their small enterprise. So if they're able to offer a high quality health coverage plan for those employees, they're going to be healthier, which means they're going to be more productive, and they're going to be able to retain those employees in this very tight labor market.
How do companies access it? Does it go through you all, or does it go directly through United Healthcare? Does it go through brokers? Talk about how this works.
The small business owner will work with their broker, and that broker will be able to quote them on the Chamber's level funded plan with United Healthcare. Interesting, through a lot of data that we've uncovered, that small business owners trust their brokers immensely. And so that broker will be able to look at the plan to make sure it's a good fit for that small business owner.
So really on all levels, they have the benefit, obviously, of taking advantage of this option, working through their trusted advisors, their brokers, and obviously partnering through the Greater Memphis Chamber as well. And so through Chamber Benefits Inc. So all the way around, it's a great partnership and opportunity. What else do you want everyone to know in terms of what this affords for small businesses, especially for business owners and their teams? What do you want them to know?
Well, there's some great components to this that really benefit the employee. Number one, there's a health component to it that involves fitness. So just by doing some simple activities every day to improve that employee's health, that employee could earn $1,000 at the end of the year just by doing a number of steps every day and doing some other health-related items. So that's a big benefit for the employee. And there's also a component in there for mental health, which is very important. As we've seen throughout COVID, this country has had a very large spike in mental health crisis. So this provides another net for those employees that are experiencing some challenges, whether it's working remotely, being at home with everyone, or just the stresses of trying to manage remotely through the crisis.
Let's stay on that thread. When you talk about especially the mental health and coming out of the pandemic and where we're headed, the importance of offering mental health, what are some of the trends that you're seeing when it comes to the small businesses, especially saying, hey, these are challenges that we're up against. How can we kind of leverage these opportunities, especially around mental health, physical fitness and wellness, and like you said, the proactive and kind of the wellness initiatives? What are some of the other trends or things that have your attention, especially from the small business side, as challenges and opportunities?
Well, I think for small business owners, a lot of it is they don't know what's available out there, right? Because they're thinking most of those services are geared towards those large employers. But with our plan, there's a lot of great resources in there. In addition, the Chamber also has an EAP program with Methodist hospital to provide mental health services for members of the chamber as well. So we do have quite a few resources available for those small businesses, and we encourage small business owners to go to the chamber website and take a look at some of those options that are available to them.
What words of advice would you give for HR leaders, business owners who say, hey, we want to be able to, manage it and be the best stewards of the opportunity. And so obviously rolling out the wellness initiatives, making sure that their employees understand all the benefits that are there. That's a piece of this. What other tips would you give them to make the most of this opportunity?
Well, for HR professionals, there's a great network with SHRM, which is a local chapter here in Memphis that provides a number of valuable resources. We work with them as a partner of our business community ecosystem. I think for HR professionals, it's just making sure they're aware of what's available out there and look to organizations like SHRM and the Chamber for those available resources that could be a good fit for their business. In this tight labor market, it really comes down to benefits and pay and quality of life. Those are the three issues driving employees to make their decisions, whether they're going to stay at a company or they're going to look to go somewhere else. And I think for small business owners, they really need to dial in on what type of benefits that they can afford for their business. Not every business is going to be able to afford a luxury suite of benefits, but if they can get the ones that are really tailored to their workforce, they're going to be very successful.
The Greater Memphis Chamber sits on the front lines for economic development for our region. How does this play a role in attracting other small businesses to our area, especially seeing that, hey, wait a second, there's an opportunity that I can leverage? How does this play a role in the larger scheme of economic development, especially related to the Greater Memphis Chamber?
Well, I think when you look at the development ecosystem, small businesses are pretty much homegrown, right? So they're going to grow out of somebody, for example, being at a large company thinking, hey, I have a great idea. I think I can make this very successful. Or you might have small businesses that are going to look to expand into another market, and they'll open up a smaller operation in Memphis, for example. And I think as companies look to Memphis on the small business side of things, they're going to see that we have a very skilled workforce. We have a low cost of doing business, and we have a very pro-business community that really champions the entrepreneurial spirit because they know that's the growth engine of our economy.
What makes you excited for where we're headed? So obviously the floodgates are opening on this opportunity, but what makes you excited for where we're headed with this?
For me personally, having worked with small businesses throughout my 35-year chamber career, I've seen small businesses grow from an idea to employing 10, 20 people, and then employing 200 people, then growing up to 500 employees. And if we can provide them with any level of support to help to get them get to that next level, it's very satisfying from the perspective of, we're helping that business grow, and it's leading to more growth economically through more checking accounts, through more auto loans, through home loans. So, seeing those small businesses grow is really what America is all about, right? The champion of the underdog. And we want small businesses to succeed and grow here.
Pursuing the American dream for sure. Talk about where we can go to learn more. You mentioned, obviously, we can work through our brokers, our insurance brokers, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention, like Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance, a Higginbotham partner, but talk about where we can go and how we can start, carrying this conversation forward. So where do we go to learn more, and where do we go to start these conversations?
As you stated, Jeremy, talk to your local broker or your broker that you trust. Also, the Chamber has a landing page on its website for the level funded coverage plans. It has all detailed information about the plans, has an FAQ session there, and also there is a list of brokers. So if a small business owner is just on the cusp of being able to offer health coverage for their employees, we have a list of brokers if they don't have any available. And of course, Lipscomb and Pitts is one of our member brokers that we have listed on that page.
And so the website for the Greater Memphis Chamber is memphischamber.com. That makes it easy, memphischamber.com. And wrap up with just, your words of encouragement for the future in terms of what this means for our great city.
For Memphis, it's all about how we can grow the local economy, right? And so if we can get small businesses to grow, that's a very important part of that local economy growing. And having people in the workforce being able to improve their skills and grow as an employee is equally important. Small business is the heartbeat of this country. And, small businesses are incredibly challenged right now with the rising costs of inflation, their goods and services that they receive from their vendors. And unfortunately, they're trying to containerize those costs, but it's very difficult right now. So our health coverage plans can save small businesses up to 32% off the cost of a traditional plan. And if they can take those savings and reinvest it back into their enterprises, they're going to be very successful.
Absolutely. So website, memphischamber.com. Rob Recker, thank you for all you do and for coming on the show.
Jeremy, thanks so much for having me this morning.